Service of Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. Шановні пані і панове, наш наступний спікер пан Андрій Sybiga, директор департаменту.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I will inform you about the following. Today, as part of the executing the instructions of the President, we had the first meeting of the set-up governmental commission on investigating the reasons of the Boeing 77 air crash. We have identified the clear algorithm of actions of all the authorities of Ukraine, and also we passed very important decisions. I will mention the international legal aspect, taking into account the fact that foreigners died, and I would like first of all to express condolences to the families of those who perished. First of all, 181 bodies have been discovered. The terrorists are exercising opposition. The representatives of terrorist groupings are exercising opposition, but despite that, the rescue services are operating there at the location. The bodies will be moved to Kharkiv, where the special laboratory will be identifying the bodies. Also, as part of providing assistance to the families who arrived, the next decisions have been made. The visas to the representatives of the countries with whom we have visa regime, they will be getting when they arrive to Borispol, and we also opened the consulate service in Kharkiv. Kharkiv authorities as well as Kiev authorities will provide 300 places to accommodate the members of the families of the victims of the aircraft crash. These people will be accommodated free of charge. In Kharkiv, we will set up the center for providing assistance to the families that arrive, and there we will have psychologists operating. We will organize volunteers who will be also rendering assistance to families while they are staying in Kharkiv. In Borispol now, we have the diplomats who are working, and they are rendering necessary assistance to the foreign citizens who arrive. As is known already, both in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and in other authorities, we have 24-hour headquarters. We introduced hotlines, 24 hours hotlines that will be providing all the necessary assistance to the citizens who need such an assistance. That is briefly the information which I can share today in the result of the meeting of the Governmental Commission headed by the Vice Prime Minister Volodymyr Groysman. Today we are also planning to have the second meeting of that commission. Thank you. Do you have any questions, colleagues?
Mikhailo Beletsky, National Radio. Can you please go into details about the commission that will investigate the technical side of the issue? As I already said, representatives of all the bodies of state power, including Ministry of Health, Interior, Infrastructure, the State Emergency Service, State Aviation Service, the Ministry of Defense, Donetsk Regional State Administration, State Security Service, the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and the representatives of the administration of the President have joined the Commission, so you see from the composition what attention is being given to the work of the Commission. Can we now talk about the time scale of the identification of bodies and who will be in charge of the medical part of the issue? The emergency works are still going on. Of course, there are certain procedures connected to the identification of bodies, taking into account the circumstances of the crash, and the Commission of the Ministry of Interior confirmed the possibility of launching a special laboratory in Kharkiv that will be relocated from another city there with the aim to identify bodies and remnants of the bodies. Other questions? Just a moment.
Cantone from Euronews. Is this commission also supposed to deal with the assessment and the analysis of the parts of the plane, just to find out how it was shut down, whether it was a missile or whatever? And secondly, what about the flight recorders? Because there are some, according to some sources, they are already in the hands of separatists, and they would be given up to the FSB, apparently. Is that true? Thank you.
Дякую за ваше запитання.
Thank you for your question. Well, as for the first question, this government commission has clearly defined authority, and it has to provide for the organization, first of all, of state bodies of Ukraine, directed at the finding out of the reasons for this terrible disaster. At the same time, based on the Article 26 on the International Convention of 1944 on International Civil Aviation, the investigation is being conducted by the National Bureau for the Investigation of Civil Aviation Accidents, which has the authority to draw conclusions that you mentioned, and to analyze the fragments of the plane and other aspects that are within the competence of this commission. I'd also like to say at once that the State Aviation Service, which is part of this National Bureau of Investigation and which organizes this investigation, has already appealed to international community and leading international organization, including International Civil Aviation Organization, so that they send here experts who will join the investigation conducted by the Ukrainian side, so that the circumstances are established by joint effort. In particular, such addresses were sent to Malaysia, the USA, and the Netherlands, and other countries. As far as black recorders are concerned, according to all the norms of international law and according to the relevant convention, those recorders should be at the territory of the state where the accident happened, which means the territory of Ukraine, so their relocation beyond the borders of Ukraine is illegal and unlawful.
You said that the rebels were exercising opposition on the scene. Could you be more specific about what kind of opposition they're posing to government authorities? And have the rebels, agreed with the Ukrainian government to allow the bodies of victims to go to Kharkiv, or is that simply the Ukrainian government's plan?
Це рішення урядової комісії саме перемістити знайдені
Is the decision of this government commission to relocate the bodies to Kharkiv, including the security aspects. As far as the first part of your question is concerned, I have told already that this territory where the plane crashed regrettably is under the control of armed terrorists who do not allow representatives of the Ukrainian side to properly do their work, and at the same time representatives of terrorist groupings are armed. Could you be more precise? Have I understood you correctly that the flight data recorders have not been found? I didn't say that. I told you that all the remnants, all the fragments of the disaster should stay in the territory of Ukraine, and all the actions connected to the relocation of fragments of the plane or flight data recorders are unlawful and contradict all the norms of international law or Ukrainian legislation. Are the flight recorders found? I cannot confirm you this information officially. I don't have this information. Could you be more precise? Today, the aviation service said that flights of other airlines won't be happening over Ukraine, and for instance, Lufthansa has withdrawn its flights. Will the airports be working, and will other airlines fly into Ukraine? As far as I know, according to the information that we got from the Ukr-Aero Center, as of today, there are certain limitations over the Dnieper sphere, speaking in professional terms, and this embraces the territory of Luhansk, Donetsk, and partially and part of Kharkiv region. This is as it was yesterday at 11 p.m. And we should be. Are you monitoring the fate of our pilot Nadia Savchenko? Of course, we are monitoring it. As you know, there was a meeting of our consul at last, and the defense lawyer, the designated lawyers. We saw that Nadia is alive. She is in good spirit. It was very important for us, and from her we heard how she was relocated to the territory of Russia, and it was of course unlawful. She had a sack over her head, as in a detective story, with the use of several cars, and in the end she found herself on the territory of a neighboring country. Our position is clear. There's no jurisdiction of a neighboring country in a criminal case against Nadia Savchenko. We demand unconditional return of Nadia to Ukraine. We demand explanations, because the explanations that we received cannot satisfy us, because in fact we see behind them an attempt to fabricate the case, and now we're expecting that lawyers will file a complaint, an appeal against the decision of imprisoning Nadia, and the court hearing should happen within 10 days. And during this stage, in spite of the parallel work of the lawyers who want to cancel the sentence of imprisonment, they are also working on launching the criminal case on the fact of kidnapping of Nadia. We now want to free her, or conditional freeing on bail, so that she is released from custody. And Euronews question.
about the wrecked plane and the parts of the plane, the remnants of a plane. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you concerned by the fact that these parts have already been removed by, as you said, the separatists were there, and so the inquiry will be almost impossible to be carried out. Thank you.
Як вам відомо,
As you know, the scope of the fallout of fragments is very wide, and the works are still in the process. We don't have official information about the relocation of fragments of the plane because they fall out on the territory of 5 kilometers. Now, of course, we will be radius. Of course, we will have an opportunity to talk about what you mentioned after the investigation. Thank you. And the next speaker will be here in a couple of minutes.